Hi guys, Miss Kramer here again doing another review video for section 11.2. This is on the Pythagorean theorem. Now this video will be a little bit shorter than the others. We will do about 4 or 5 examples on the Pythagorean theorem. So let's get started. So in general, you should probably know what the Pythagorean theorem is. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And in class we talked about where those letters came from and why we can say that that's a true statement. So if you need a refresher on why we proved that or how we proved it, go ahead and go back to our class video on Mr. Catone's YouTube and take a look. I think it's very useful and beneficial for you guys to make sure you understand where that proof comes from. So in general, we have sides A and side B. Those are called legs of a triangle, and then C's are hypotenuse, or hypotenuse, if you guys remember the picture we had up. C is also the longest leg. So the hypotenuse is the longest leg. So let's look at our example with Yoshi and try and figure out how high the building is. So you can see here that we already have what the hypotenuse is. It's 10. We have the base, so we'll call that side B. We have that's 5. We're trying to find what A is. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I told you that A and B are interchangeable since we're adding them. It doesn't matter their order. So if we let A be the side that we're missing, we'll have a squared plus 5 is our b value, so 5 squared equals c, which is our hypotenuse, so 10 squared. So we'll have a squared plus 25 equals 100. Now trying to solve for just a, we subtract 25 from both sides, and we'll get 75. Take the square root of both sides. That way we can get just a by itself. Maybe there we go. Because the square root of a squared is just a. And then we'll have the square root of 75. But remember, going back to section 11.1, you need to simplify that. So inside of 75, we have 25 times 3. So the square root of 25 is 5, and then we're still left with the square root of 3. So that's our A value, 5 square roots of 3. Okay, so example 2, I was obviously getting a little bit creative and was in the Mario spirit. So for here, I thought we would just draw our own triangle. And then I came up with a whole storyline behind it. So Mario needs to jump from here all the way to here. And he needs to do so before this fireball here hits him. Okay, so we're trying to find how far away the fireball is to where Mario's going to be. So below, if you notice that the bottom we're going to say is 5 units away, and then we're going to say the top, so from Mario to the top of the fireball, we'll say that's 7. So we're trying to find the hypotenuse then. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, plug in your values. A is 7, so 7 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. 7 squared is 49 plus 25 equals c squared. 49 plus 25 is 74. Take the square root of both sides. C equals the square root of 74. And that actually cannot simplify. Again, when I go to check, I'll think, okay, does 4 go into 74? No. You'd have to do some quick math in your head. I think of 4 into 7 is once with 3 left over. I still have a 4 there. So does 4 go into 34? And the answer is no. So I know it can't be 4 times something. Then you try 9. 9 can't go in there. Try 16 and so on. But I'll let you know now that doesn't simplify. So in that case, the hypotenuse is the square root of 74. And for those of you who are interested, because they want to know how far away the fireball is, the square root of 74 is actually 8.6. And I just, you don't have to do that, but in case those Mario fans out there want to know how far away that fireball is from the green pipe, it's about 8.6 meters. Alright, so the next one. We all know this end game here. Well, who would have thought it's a right triangle? So, what we want to know is we need to know all the values. So, in this case, let me tell you what that side is 9, this side is 12, and we're trying to find the hypotenuse again. So again, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Let me see if I turn this. I should be able to get some more. There we go. So a squared is 12 squared plus 9 squared equals c squared. 12 squared is 144 plus 9 squared is 81. That equals c squared. 144 plus 81 is 225. And then the square root of both sides leaves you with c equals 15. So that hypotenuse is 15. Alright, and then for our last example, I got very creative here. So, Mario is trying to beat Bowser around the racetrack. The racetrack is shaped like a triangle with sides 5, 7, and 8 feet. Mario needs to know if this triangle is a right triangle so that when he rounds the bend, he knows how sharp he has to turn the wheel. And that should be an S. He knows. Help Mario beat Bowser. Okay, so both these triangles are the same. I just showed you 2 triangles just so that you could get a nice image of Mario trying to beat Bowser around the racetrack. So if I label this side 5, then this side has to be 7, and therefore the hypotenuse has to be 8. Now we also know that the hypotenuse is the longest side, so no matter what, it has to be 8. Now the 5 and 7, you could have switched positions and it would not have made a difference. So when we do the math here, and I'm going to add a new sheet. So again, our triangle, we had 5, 7, 8. So to check on this comes back to our converse and the conditional statements that we talked about in this section. So what we're saying is if this is a right triangle, then the Pythagorean theorem should be satisfied, meaning that the left side should equal the right side. So a squared we'll say is 5 squared plus 7 squared equals, sorry, one step ahead. Yeah, that looks 84 squared. Oh, not 84 squared, 8 squared. Okay. So we have 25 plus 49, and we're trying to figure out if that equals 64. Now 25 plus 49 actually equals 74, so therefore that does not equal 64, so sorry Mario, but that is not a right triangle. Not a right triangle. Now, just to give you maybe an example of a right triangle so that you have an example of that, 3, 4, and 5 is actually a right triangle. 3 squared plus 4 squared does equal 5 squared. So that is an example of a right triangle. But that's all I have for you for this lesson, or as I say, level 2. Again, more questions, please come see me, watch the video, try it on your own, pause it, check your answer, and then I will be working on some more review videos. Thanks, guys.